Hello lovelies, how are you all doing today? I hope you're well. I am. I'm a bit chilly. It's a little bit chilly out here today. I think I looked at the forecast, I think it's about 14 degrees at the moment, but that's kind of why I'm out here. Where are we? Mid-October or so. I have been pretty with the garden lacking for about the last 6 weeks. It's really not had any attention at all. I've got excuses. So we had 3 weeks of pretty much non-stop rain, which started on the 27th of August. Yeah, it started on the 27th of August, day after Kate got here. 3 weeks, and then I had 2 weeks with visitors, and then the week after my final visitors had gone, I was playing catch up with all sorts of other stuff, mainly building and work and what have you. So apart from coming out here to harvest, it's had no attention. So it needs attention anyway, but also, of course, it's the change of season, isn't it? So much as I'd like to cling on to summer for as long as possible, it's definitely not summer. I've been watching the weather forecast. This time of year I start to watch it a bit more closely again for nighttime temperatures, and in a couple of weeks or so our nighttime temperatures are going to be dropping to about 6 or 7 degrees. So not a frost, but 6 or 7 degrees is enough to really upset the tomatoes. So apart from cleaning up, today is also about getting the last of the summer harvest in, so the tomatoes will be green. I'll talk more about that when we're doing it. So making sure I don't lose any of this hard-won harvest because of the weather. But also, not only, but also because it is a small garden, I don't have spare beds, so where the tomatoes currently are, I need that bed for my next crop. Yay! I'm back into that routine of one crop comes out, the next crop goes in. So there are 2 things I'm going to be sowing, plus the lovely brassicas that Paul brought down with their last visit. They need to be planted. So yeah, cucumbers and tomatoes, it's bye-bye today, but rescuing any fruits that remain. And just before, so look, I need to do a huge amount. I've already done the front garden, great. It can feel a bit overwhelming, especially if you, like me, you've not had any time to do gardening, to attend to anything. All you've been doing is harvesting. It can feel really overwhelming. You know, everywhere you look, it's like you see a job, you see a job, you see a job. So what I recommend, it's what I always do for myself, is a list. So I came out late yesterday afternoon, just before dusk really. I came out, it was a scrappy piece of paper, and I just walked around the garden making a note of everything. Not the shade garden, that's a whole different ball game. That's a project to start towards the end of October. I've got another visitor coming, so it'll have to wait. But yeah, apart from that, just focusing on, say, the summer garden and the pots, I've gone around, made a note of absolutely everything on a scrap, and then I've put it onto here in a sort of a more methodical, logical order, so that if I don't get finished today, at least I'm going in the right direction. So clipboard, make a list. And finally, before we get going and actually doing this stuff, I need to get moving. I do have underneath a thermal t-shirt. Back to thermals, goodness me. The size of my garden. So as you saw when Richard and Paul were here, we set to measuring, and I'm going to just keep it really simple. The shade garden, it's 5 metres by 2 metres, so it gives me 10 square metres, but of course half of that is path. I've done it in feet as well, hold on. So that's about 18 feet by 6 feet, which gives me 107 square feet, but halve it because half is the path. Yeah, we're not so much bothered about that. It's more about this area, isn't it? So the tape measure went to the side of the shed. I didn't include the shed area, this whole area at the back where I've still got a plywood counter to chop up. More of that another day. New tool to play with. And the steps. I didn't include any of that because that's not growing space. So this sort of square of garden from the little back wall, my neighbour's side wall, up to the end of my scullery wall and to the shed is a very handy, it's pretty much 5 metres by 5 metres. So I've got 25 square metres. Again, for the feet and inches folk, I have to write it down because I don't know. It's 16 feet by 16 feet, which gives me 270 square feet. Now, I know I've had a few suggestions from folk, thank you. I know someone was saying, well, the bench takes up so much room and the table takes up room, why don't I have a planter in the middle and I could put it on wheels and wheel it out of the way when I need to. So, look, I appreciate everybody's ideas, but the way the garden is working for me, it's not just about the growing space. This is very much a room for me. It's an extra room to my home. So, I mean, really, it's kind of weather dependent, but from the end of March, beginning of April, if it's nice weather, right through to September, end of September, this is a living space as well as a growing space. So it's my dining room. Here's my dining room. My living room over there with my lovely Sue bench. I spend as much time out here as I possibly can. As I did, not my previous flat, didn't have a garden. The flat before that, you know, I eat almost all my meals out here. I entertain out here, which is great. I relax out here later on, you know, have a little sit on the bench. I can lie down on the bench, read for half an hour, whatever it is. So I'm fine with the growing space I've got. I might be able to sneak a little bit more. You remember I mentioned about bringing the beds in either side of the bench, but really that's fine. And the planter on wheels, I completely get why that was a suggestion. And the suggestion was then I can move it into the shade garden when I'm out here working. I'm out here all the time, and also it would be slap bang where my washing line is, so literally it would be in the shade garden all the time for the whole summer, which would kind of defeat the point of having it, because then it would be in the shade, the plants in it wouldn't grow. Anyway, so yeah, it's 5 metres by 5 metres. That's, as I've shown this year already, that's enough space to get some nice harvests from. It's a lovely space to sit and relax in. It's a lovely space to entertain in. It's just lovely to have an outdoor room again after 21 years. Right, I'm getting really chilly. So's a seagull. So let's start the most important job to start this session with. Well, the first job is actually getting the tomatoes, but to just make life easier for myself, let's make a bit of space. So this is the lovely brassicas from Paul. That's dazzling blue kale. That's a Taunton Dean. Oh, I can't balance it, hang on. With my jasmine cuttings and the one geranium cutting that took. This is the remaining foxgloves. Remember I gave Paul a few. They could really do with going in soon. They're looking a bit yellow, and I mean it might just be because it's the time of year, but yeah, that shade garden is going to be a priority once my next visitor has been and gone. Shall I give you a quick update on wall squash? Let me show you wall squash. Actually, I'm going to show you a couple of things before I start hacking away, but look, you see the tomatoes are still pretty abundant. Right, wall squash. She's happily nestled down here. There's still a little bit of green. Now the thing about the squash is they will tolerate 6 or 7 degrees at night. So they may, I think I'm probably going to leave them for now, and then as soon as the temperature's starting to look like more like sort of 3 or 4, I'll harvest. But one of them, this one over here, started like this, decided she was lonely and grew a little sister. Oh my goodness, I mean, is that ever going to ripen? Even if I bring it indoors, which I will do eventually. But the other thing that's gone a bit... Oh, I mean, this courgette does not know when to stop. Okay, so the courgette is another one that won't like it once we get sort of below 7 or 6 degrees. So I've got that one to harvest. This one, I mean, it's a tiddler, but it may come to something. That can probably stay for another couple of weeks or so. It had put out a second branch. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, hang on. More in there. So there's 1, 2 I can harvest. I probably have these off today, actually. And 2 more coming. Doesn't know when to stop. But look at this. This is bonkers. This is the gigantes. Oop, kind of... The fennel is still all over the floor, and I want to keep it. I might just take this one bit off and leave those. But look at the gigantes flowering again. Gorgeous, such pretty wee flowers, but there's no way they're going to come to anything. Oh, I've just seen a pod I missed. So this all can come out today too. This was my dazzling blue kale. Do you remember these were the brassicas? Got absolutely massacred by caterpillars. I netted them and they've come back. Not massively, but that one has. I was wondering about getting it out of there and into the ground. I might try that. We'll see. Anyway, right. So, just bonkers. I love these beautiful little white flowers. Isn't that a stunner? But sorry, you're coming out. Right, let's get on with this important job. It's so grey today. Such contrast to how it was in the summer. Actually, that's a point to make as well, because I have watched it on when we've had sunny days. We've had a few sunny days. Not particularly hot, but sunny. And it's given me a chance to see how the sun is tracking in the garden at this time of year. And I noticed, gosh, by about the middle of September, I'm really losing the sun in the garden at all. Just a tiny little patch here, sort of 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, that's another one it's worth noting. So for instance, the tomatoes, they're getting so little sunshine now, they might as well come indoors, ripen on trays. So I've got with me, I've got my colander and my harvesting basket, because quite a few of them have split. So I'll pop them in here, and then once I'm in the kitchen, I'll go through them and see, are there any that I can rescue? Because if they've only just split, I can still use them. If they've been split a few days, then they'll already started to get a bit rotten. Yeah, so just time to get on and pick the last. So just a quick word on green tomatoes. I don't like them. I really don't like green tomatoes. Now, in the past, folk have suggested, why don't I make green tomato chutney? No, thank you. I hate chutney. I really don't enjoy chutney. I know that Richard and Paul have got a recipe. I'll see if I can find it and then I can pop it on the end of this video. They've got a recipe for green tomato curry, which I'd be much more interested in trying. One of the reasons I give them a chance to ripen indoors rather than, say, doing a chutney is, and I've nothing against chutney personally, I just don't like it, but chutney for me, you know, it's a condiment. It's not an ingredient to make a meal with. I'm sure some of you are going to say you make meals with chutney, but I'd much rather have just tomatoes straight up au naturel that I can then use throughout the winter to make, you know, I can make soup, I can make curry, I can make stew, I can make all sorts with my tomatoes that I store in the freezer, whereas I can't make any of those dishes with chutney. So anyway, those of you who love green tomato chutney, go for it, enjoy it, but not me. And I'm just looking now. I can't quite decide whether this is slightly natural dieback or have I got a little tiny bit of blight. It's possibly blight, I'm not sure. My aspirin spray, I did that. I did that regularly through the summer, and then I basically stopped doing it from the end of August because we just had 3 weeks of rain. There's no point spraying, it gets washed off. Also, my sprayer broke. I need to get a new sprayer. So it's quite possible that, yeah, this is a little bit of blight. But look, we're in the middle of October. These plants are coming out anyway. It's fine. So all I will do with these, well, you saw in the kitchen the ones I rescued from the wall. I just spread them out on trays. I've got a couple more trays. I'll spread them out. I'll probably put them in the front room, in the living room. It's warmer. There's so much sunshine in there. The sun can flood through the window, and all the tomatoes, the green ones, can have a sun bath and hopefully turn red. In the past, I've done exactly the same, sometimes earlier in the year, depending on the weather. And, you know, I've had mountains and mountains of green ones, and I've thought, oh, you know, they're never gonna get ripe. And sorry, top of head, lo and behold, they all ripen in time. So yeah, I will wait for red tomatoes rather than using green ones. But as I've said a couple of times in previous years, if I still have green ones by, I don't know, the end of November, maybe I'll try the green tomato curry that the lads do. Okay, well, this is going to take a little while, so let me get on with this and then we'll reconvene. Yay, good. Glad to get this lot in, this last lot. I reckon there's got to be about another 5 kilos there. Then I've got the coriander with the slight duds. So I'll look at those straight away this evening when I'm done out here. What I was going to say, I was going to mention, oh, I've forgotten. Anyway, yeah, just getting all the fruit off means I can just now be a bit more rough, whatever, with the plants. So they're literally going to just come out, get chopped up, go in the compost heap. You know what that looks like, the compost heap and the chopping. So I won't keep you here for that. I will just get on. Oh yeah, that was the one thing I was going to mention is I've brought my thermometer out here. Well, that was about 2 minutes ago I brought out. It's already dropped a degree. It feels colder than 14, 15 to me. It feels quite a bit colder. And the sense I'm getting is it feels damp and cold, and damp cold always does feel cold. It's like damp heat, you know, moist heat feels hotter than dry heat. So that'll be another thing for me to just bear in mind and keep my eye on over this sort of last bit of autumn and over winter, because I am putting in crops for overwintering. Obviously it's my first winter, it will be my first winter of growing here. So again, with a new garden, it's just one of those extra little things to just bear in mind and make a mental note of, or make a physical note of if you can find your gardening notebook. Mine's still packed. But yeah, it feels cold and damp here today. So is that going to affect what I sow in a week or so? We'll see. Time will tell. love this. The rhythm of the year. White. Find a cloth to wipe. It feels so dark. So what I've noticed, I've cleared that lot of tomatoes. I'm just about to start in on this lot. But first of all, take down the bean and cucumber TP. But what I've noticed as I've been pulling the tomato plants out is absolutely masses of worms, which is brilliant. Good soil health. So when I cleared the bed back in, when did I clear it? It was May. Yeah, it was May's time that I was clearing the sunny bed of weeds, bulbs, what have you, the Spanish bluebells. I think I saw 2 worms in the whole time, so I'm really pleased to see so much worm life. Brilliant. The Gigantes flowers I showed you at the beginning, so sweet. I couldn't quite let them go into the compost, so aren't they little darling things? Since I got rid of my Beatrix potted jug, I no longer have a small thing for flowers. But so this is in, I don't think you can make it out, can you see? The Woman in Black. That was when I was in the Woman in Black from I was throughout most of 1998. I'm just going to pop that on the table. Yeah, I couldn't bear to put those little flowers in the compost bin. I mean, they'll probably only last a day. I'll put them on my desk and enjoy them. I can look at them later on when I'm editing this. Oh, there was something else I was going to... Oh my goodness. I'm a bit lost in the moment today, which is lovely. I mean, it's taken me about an hour to just clear that lot. What I'm doing for now is I'm not worrying about the weeds or anything like that. I'm just literally getting the material chopped. Oh, where was that pod to rescue? That's one more seed for next year. Pop it on my chair. Yeah, just all I'm concerned about is get this plant matter chopped up and out of the way, rescue any bits of harvest as I go, anything that I've missed, get the bean poles out, and I'm stacking them outside the shed for now in the air so that their kind of bottom ends can dry out somewhat. I'm doing this really cat-handedly today. Just, right, let's get the string off. Oh, it's like a little baby snail colony. Oh, that was what I was going to mention about the secateurs. I'll get to that bit in a sec. Yeah, I'm just leaving them outside to air dry a little bit before putting them away, because obviously the bottom foot of each pole has been sat in. This ground is now really moist, having had the dry summer. It's been moist now for 6 weeks, so yeah, giving them an air dry. So something else I was going to mention is secateurs. So I knew I was going to be having this clean up, tidy up day. Yeah, I sort of put it into my calendar a couple of weeks ago when I was planning my schedule. So a couple of nights ago, I sat down, dismantled my secateurs, because these had such a hammering at the beginning of the year. You know, the whole of April, every night I was sitting chopping that blooming pyracantha. Later on I've been chopping the bay, or whatever we've decided it is. So yeah, they've had an absolute hammering. So took them apart completely. Sorry, clank clank bean poles. Oh, I like that sound though. It's that sound of this time of year, isn't it? When the garden is getting cleared. There are certain sounds, the rattle of bean poles as you walk them, well, from the allotment to the shed. It's only a little walk now. It's a sound of autumn. It makes me think of crows cawing in the trees and the smell of wood smoke as blighted tomatoes get burnt, or it's bonfire night at the allotment, whatever. Yeah, so it's well worth, at this time of year, if you haven't kept up with the upkeep of your secateurs through the summer, because let's face it, all through summer we're always busy, aren't we? We're all, in terms of with the garden, we're always, you know, pruning, tying, this, that, and every day we say to ourselves, oh, I must look after my secateurs, I must give them a clean, I must give them a sharpen. It's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow is yet another busy day in the garden and they don't get done. So yeah, for the autumn clear up, they really, really did need a good clean, and more importantly, they needed sharpening. You don't want to, when you're doing all this work, why handicap yourself with blunt cutting edges? Oh my goodness, this string, I couldn't get any organic string this year, so I'm not putting it in the compost. It can go in the town compost, or council compost. Yeah, if you haven't done your autumn clear up yet, and your secateurs have been languishing in the shed the last few weeks, promise yourself an evening of clean up and sharpening of them before you start the clean up in the garden. Right, I'm going to carry on. I'm so happy about all the worms though. I'm really, really happy about that. It's a great sign. I'm doing something right. It feels good to be back in the garden, gardening again. Yay! That's all taken me way longer than I thought it would. And I have to go off and do something else right now, so I'm going to have to leave it there for today. I'll show you where I've got to and talk about the next steps and stages. Yeah, let's have a look, see where I've got to, and we can talk about, I think tomorrow I'm going to change my plans and focus on the garden again tomorrow, because yeah, I really want to get my winter crops in. So there's all the poles, the 8-footers and the 6-footers stacked. You can see how very, very, very damp they are on the bottoms. The ones that look slightly less damp, that was from the front garden yesterday. So you can see just in 24 hours the difference. So yeah, let them dry out another couple of days before I tuck them into the shed. Just when I thought I'd got all the tomatoes dealt with, I suddenly remembered these 3 bags of tomatoes. So yeah, that's another load for the compost. It's pretty full. I'm going to have to squish it down, but this is quite a change and it makes me a little bit sad, except I can't be too sad because I'm excited for what's to come next. But yeah, tomatoes gone. Back to my view on the day I moved in. Well, minus all the weeds and stuff. Well, not quite minus all the weeds. So this will be the plan for the next 2 or 3 sessions out here. Oh, things like the geraniums, deadhead them, and I'm wondering if the garden is sheltered enough to overwinter them. And what I was thinking is jamming them onto the bed right up against the wall so they get that shelter. It's worth a try. Otherwise I'll just take cuttings. So you can see the bed is really weedy with all the little annuals that have popped up. So I need to hoe all of that off. This chard I stopped being able to get to because of the tomatoes. Why did I plant it at the back? I must have had a little brain moment. So I'll give them all a trim and a tidy up, get rid of all the rubbishy leaves. It will keep sprouting through the winter. The squash, I was going to leave them another couple of weeks, but honestly, I don't think they're going to get any sunshine now, in terms of for ripening. So I might as well harvest them, and then I can properly clear this bed. So get my little bit of my metal mesh off. If you remember, that's just to stop the sparrows having their dust bath right at the front of the bed. They can have the dust bath in the back, because at the front they were chucking all the soil off. So yeah, give everything a really thorough weed, ready for my next crop. So what I'm hoping to put in here, sorry, I should say the chard is going to stay in over winter. It's dotted. Get all the bags and bits off, and then I'm going to get into here a couple of rows of broad beans. Yay! I can't wait. And hopefully maybe between them, maybe even in front, but once they come up I'll have to take the mesh off. I'm going to get a couple of rows of garlic. Then, so that's the immediate plan for tomorrow, is to get this bed completely cleared. Weeds, tatty bits of chard, let the chard come back. That boulder, I might have to move that boulder out of the way so I can get a row of broad beans in. Courgette can stay for, it can stay for now because it's producing, but I reckon in a week's time it's going to come out, but it's okay there for now. Yeah, more deadheading. Oh, this fennel too, the one that's in the bag, they're all over here. They can stay. Deadhead geranium. This is the albea, whatever it's called. This shoot has been bugging me all summer, so I'm going to just prune that out. But as I think I mentioned, I had originally been planning to remove it completely, but it's staying because the hummingbird hawk moths are all over it. Okay, so the courgette, it's a courgette, Vivi, can stay. Again, weed. Get it really clear, and then the 4 dazzling blue kale, just not panning too fast. Is it 4? Yeah, these 4 dazzling blue kale will go in there. This is a happy sight, isn't it, of things waiting to be planted. A few of my cuttings, Paul's cuttings, my seed sowing. Lovely. Oh, is it starting to... I think it might be starting to drizzle. So these 4 dazzling blue kale will go in here, and they'll probably go sort of 1, 2, 3, 4. So is 5 here. Might try and get that kale into the ground. The fennel can stay for now because it will seed up, and I'll use the seeds for myself for tea. Oh, I should say as well, once that bed has been weeded and cleared, then the 2X tomato growing bags I'll tip out over there. I could have tipped them out here, however, it's right next to the compost bin, so any runoff from the compost bin is obviously really fertilising this little bit of soil. But this is where I'm going to put the Taunton Dean. Also, myriad other things before I even get to the shade garden. Things like putting away the hose. It's still abandoned where I left it, so yeah, look after your equipment, get it tidied and put away. Also, with where the brassicas are going to be, any spare garlic that I've got, I'm literally just going to pop it in any little gaps that I can find. Yay! And I might have to move them for some extra light, but I'm just thinking on this now. These little growing bags, I think I might have a bit of compost I can top them up with, but I could get garlic into these. I could probably get 5 garlic into each one, and maybe if I just bring them over here for the winter so they get whatever bit of warmth or light is going. So yeah, it's an absolute mess right now, but it's that time of year, isn't it? We always make a mess before we make it better. There's no point in me, you know, even sweeping the patio because muck's going to go flying tomorrow. I've got muck all over my jumper. Never mind. So yeah, that's where we're at. And like I said, oh, I'm turning you back. Let's just have another sit a second. Oh la la, light's terrible today. Yeah, I didn't get as far as I was hoping to today, but that's okay. I got on, I did a bit, and I think that's the thing, isn't it, with gardening all the time, is if you've had 5 or 6 weeks off, I think that's the longest I've ever not gardened for when I have a garden, for whatever reason, weather, health, family commitments, whatever it is, it can just feel so daunting to get back to it, can't it? So if you do nothing else, just do one job. Commit to 2-3 hours of work, focus on one job, get it done, and then when you're finished, sit back and look and think, yeah, I did that today, great. And tomorrow, I'll do the next job on the list. Right, my tummy rumbled. I need to quickly have something to eat before I get on with the next thing. So, until then, my neighbour's just come out, I'm shy. I will say, cheerio.